places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere.
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 412, part of the Almighty Baller Podcast Network and Dash Radio. I am Jay. I'm not going to ask how you're doing, Mark, because I know it's terrible.
You know why it's episode 412? 412 is a significant number.
Is it?
Yeah, because 412 is the exact number of years before we go to the playoffs again.
Yeah.
I want to say this is the okay, so Tuesday night, so Jay knows this, and whoever maybe you listen to the show, you know this or not. So I have two kids, and that's the part. Jay, I have two kids, and I like to watch the whole Knick game, but I usually DVR the Knick game. And once the kids are in bed, I will go and watch the game from start to finish. And usually kids are down by close to 8:30, and then I'll start watching. And so Jay texts me, and the kids were a little bit hard to get down on Tuesday night. Jay texts me at 8:23 p.m. saying, "Don't watch the game." My response, haven't started yet. I hate this team. My initial thought is the Knicks must be getting their butt kicked by the Bucks, and this is the stupid game and whatever. And then Jay writes back, "Knicks are up, but don't watch." Which is a pretty scary, because I'm just expecting Knicks lost by 40 points, down by 40 points in the first half, and that's why he told me not to watch. He tells me not to watch, and the Knicks are up. I know something horrible has happened. Now I write back, okay, now I kind of have to watch. Going to be a while because kids are not in bed yet. And Jay writes back, "You're not going to get much sleep tonight." And I'm like, okay, this sounds really bad. And so I wrote back Jay a kind of a joke text saying, well, now I'm assuming the worst. So I assume Dolan stood up at half court to start the game, announced that he'd hired Phil and Isaiah to be co-heads of the team, traded the next 20 years of first-rounders to get Derrick Rose back, who they immediately maxed, and Kristaps and Frankie were deported by Donald Trump at the end of the first quarter.
Little did you know, it was worse.
Jay did not write back, which made me think, oh God, this is actually worse than what I actually wrote. And so I knew it was terrible. And I was like, I still have to watch, then I have to find out what happened. I can't just look in the box score. So kids are asleep. I go downstairs. I probably started the game around 9 something. And I'm watching, and it starts off to be kind of a fun thing to watch, because certain things were happening that were not happening. Porzingis was an animal on defense. He was one of the things I've been killing him all season for was he does not get out to defend guys shooting from the outside. 3-pointers or even like long twos, he does not get out on those guys. And it's really frustrating because you're 7'3". You should be able to block these guys, prevent these guys from getting easy shots. Guys should not be able to shoot over you. And I think it was Giannis who was shooting from the corner. He went for a 3, and not only did KP get out on him, KP blocked his shot. And that was awesome. KP was looking like a goddamn animal on defense. He was playing well on offense. It was, I guess, somewhere maybe the second quarter had just started. And I was kind of forgetting Jay's text. I know he had texted me something awful was going to happen. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. But I kind of just let myself enjoy the game. And then I see Kylo Quinn feed it to KP, and he gets this great little dunk. And then he's not getting up. And I knew that was obviously why Jay had texted me.
As soon as he fell, I was like, no, that's it. That's the end.
And you know what? I just thought, well, you know what? There's no way I was like, he goes down, that must be an ACL, it must be torn, and we must be our franchise must be just doomed. I just assumed he hurt his knee somehow, and that meant he wasn't going to return tonight. He'd be missed a couple of weeks.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, he's missing a couple of weeks. He's missing 52 of them. Oh, God.
Yeah, so that was just one of many things that happened this week.
So much happened this week. Do you want to just talk brief? Let's just talk a little bit about this. Why does God hate the Knicks?
I mean, it's proof right there that he does.
Yeah. Is there something like God clearly hates the Knicks, right?
I mean, we can't have anything nice. Nothing nice.
Nothing nice.
Nothing nice ever.
I mean, and last show I was so angry And I don't even know I don't even know what emotion I went through all of like the
5
like
stages of grief.
Yeah, which I should have looked up before before we started the show. But what did you start the show with? I can't hear the music. You started with Mad Mad World. You told me you were starting with.
Yeah, Mad World by Gary Jules.
I would have started with Misery by Soul Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, like, just quickly, back and forth. What are worst things that could have happened?
Nothing.
Or I guess let's look at the bright side. I'm going to actually the bright side of all this.
Okay.
When KP got injured, not a single fan in MSG died.
Okay. When KP got injured, he didn't die.
Yes. When KP got injured, that wasn't some kind of automatic trigger in the U.S. Constitution that made Donald Trump president for life. That didn't happen.
When KP got injured, Frank didn't follow suit and also get injured.
Yes.
That's about it.
Yeah. No airplane crashes to the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I told my son, who's now become also my son just got my wife got him a Porzingis jersey, which is awesome. But the weird thing is, so Porzingis gets injured. She was in Modell's, and she said the Ntilikina jersey for his size was $70, but the Porzingis jersey was $20.
Weird.
It was already discounted. So she's like, "Oh, it's perfect." She's like, "I know that's your favorite player anyway." So, but I told my son in the morning, I was like, "KP's injured. He's out for the season," and he immediately goes, "But Dad, we still have Ntilikina." I was like, "Thank you for looking on the bright side. That's awesome."
Yeah, smart kid.
Yeah. So someone, I kind of want to name the episode this. Someone posted this on, I think it was on Twitter or on Facebook maybe, and they made reference to David Robinson. And I forget if it was supposed to be the David Robinson episode or whatever you want to call it. But you remember what happened with David Robinson.
Right. They had a decent team. David Robinson got injured. They ended up being the worst team that year and ended up with Tim Duncan. And then they had Robinson and Duncan and won a championship the very next year.
Basically, the San Antonio Spurs have won 50 games, at least 50 games a year for the last 29 of the last 30 years. One of those years was the year the injury happened, they tanked, and became even greater after.
But tanking doesn't work.
Yeah, well, not even discuss that. Everyone understands at this point the Knicks have to lose every game going forward. It's a tight race for tanking.
There is a lot of bad teams, and they all have a lot less wins than the Knicks because the Knicks started off decently.
Well, we didn't know we were in the tank. We didn't know until when that injury happened. Everyone was like, "Okay, we need to lose."
There's 25 games left. I'm thinking the Knicks have to go like 2-23.
I listened to the radio afterwards on ESPN radio. I think it was Ian Begley talking to whoever the host was, and even he was like, "Yeah, it'd be good if the Knicks focus on get draft position going forward." He didn't want to say the word tanking, but he was like, "Yeah, they need to focus on that going forward, draft position," which is another way of saying a euphemism for tanking.
Absolutely.
Holy crap. I cannot even get so the only bright side I have is really maybe in his absence we will tank, get a good player in this year's draft, and we can build a team that is better for KP to return to.
And just pray that he comes back okay. There was I forget what site, but they listed everyone who was around KP's age who tore their ACL and what they were like when they came back.
Yeah.
And it looks like on average it takes like 2 to 3 years to like get back to where you were, if you get back to where you were.
Yeah, I think it's more of a like next season when he comes back, and let's say he comes back after All-Star break, he's probably not going to be really it's probably till after the following season when you'll have real KP back.
Right.
I remember like when Shumpert came back, just for an example. He tore was he ACL also?
Yeah.
And he wasn't really himself till the following year.
Or ever.
Or ever, yeah. I don't know how he was a little more limited. Like here's on the positive side is ACL doesn't mean he's still 7'3". He's still
that
the same
is true.
height.
He's still 7'3". He's still got a good shot.
He's still got a good shot. He could work on his shot, get a better shot. He's just not quite as agile.
Yeah.
Lateral quickness may not be. I don't know. I mean, a lot of guys have come back. I mean, a lot of guys have had these injuries and had totally fine careers after.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a crapshoot. With that list, it looked like it was half the players recovered, half the players didn't.
And I bet if you narrowed that list to guys over 7'3", over 7'2", the list gets pretty bad.
The list was 0.
Yeah, it's just KP basically. It's the height thing makes it really like if it was 6'7", like if let's just say you had all your faith in Shumpert and he got injured, you would still have like had some faith in Shumpert coming back. We had faith that he'd be better.
Yeah.
But it's KP's immense height makes it a lot scarier.
Yeah. So I guess that's obviously the worst. Moving on, because I don't want to spend the whole episode just sobbing over this. The Knicks made a couple moves.
Yes. Let's talk about. Well, KP is injured. Obviously, we have a lot of time for Willie Hernangomez to develop him the rest of the season.
Funny story.
So, would you have thought? And I said this to you, I guess, offline, but like, would you have been? Like, people didn't love the Hernangomez trade because they traded him for 2 draft picks, right? 20 and 21.
Two second-round draft picks and a player, Johnny O'Brien, that the Knicks immediately waived.
So it was just 2 draft picks, really.
Yeah.
I thought, and someone said that he was actually the Knicks acquired the pick to get Hernangomez for a draft pick in 2020 and 2021. So it was basically getting those draft picks back.
Yes.
But would you? And the other trade was we traded Doug McDermott and swapped 2018 second-round picks with Denver to get Emmanuel Mudiay.
Yes. My theory on that is that
Emmanuel Mudiay is bad?
No, that they Denver and New York were talking about making the trade. And Denver's like, well, I feel like this trade is a little lopsided. I kind of want a second-round pick. And the Knicks are like, you know what? I think this trade's a little lopsided. I want a second-round pick. And then they're like, hey, let's just swap second-round picks.
I mean, it's not going to be – the Knicks probably drop like 10 spots, maybe 8 spots. It's not a huge difference. Whatever. And they already have another second-round pick from the Bulls, so I'm not that upset by that.
It was just a little weird that they swapped. I mean, neither team is – I mean, I guess the Knicks' second-rounder is going to be slightly better than Denver's.
You don't often see swaps of second-round picks, really. That's what it comes down to, especially teams that aren't going to be that different in the rankings.
Yeah.
And also second round. But is it weird so far that so they traded Hernangomez. He went to the he's on the Hornets now, right?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't know that from looking at the Hornets box scores. Hernangomez was like, "Hey, I want to play." The Knicks are like, "No, okay, fine, trade me to a team that'll play me." No, you're going to Charlotte instead, where there's 3 centers ahead of you. Also,
did they not play him? I didn't even check.
He hasn't played yet.
Awesome.
I have not seen him in the box score. Maybe I'm missing it. Today's game he didn't play. Well, they have Dwight Howard already. They have who else is ahead of him? They have Cody Zeller. So there you go. They're your centers. What the hell do they need for? I think there's a third guy ahead of him also.
Oh, he's probably so happy right now.
Yeah, he must be like, oh, this is wonderful, great. But I don't think I would have hated that. I wouldn't have. I didn't love that. I feel like Hernangomez, maybe they could have gotten more for him. You kind of wanted him to. If it was Hernangomez for Mudiay, I think we all would have felt a little better about that trade because you would have just said, yeah, we didn't need necessarily a center. We'd rather take that position and experiment with the position that we need with greater need, right?
Yeah.
I think I would have been much fine if it was that. If it was Doug McDermott for 2 second-round draft picks, I would have said that's really all Doug McDermott's worth.
The thing is, I don't feel like the Knicks really needed another point guard. We're having trouble getting Ntilikina minutes as it is.
I think they could use. I feel like. I think Bill Simmons has said this on his show. It's always worth taking a flyer on a top 10 pick, basically. Change of scenery. He's 21 years old. Let's see how it goes. Why not?
I guess. He's ranked like the 3rd worst defender in the entire NBA.
Well, someone pointed out maybe it was on ESPN. They were like, he's basically the Knicks lead the tank, and Emmanuel Mudiay is the captain of the tank. He's like the 3rd worst player in the NBA this year as far as like real plus minus. So good, we got a guy that'll help us tank. What's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if your goal is tanking, that's what better guy to have.
I mean, in fairness, he was someone that, like, I remember during the draft, I know you picked KP. I thought Mudiay, and a lot of people thought Mudiay was the guy the Knicks should have drafted.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, we thought this guy had an immense worth of talent. He went to Denver. Maybe Denver didn't develop him properly. Maybe, like, in a couple years, he'll actually be pretty good.
Well, if Denver didn't develop him properly, I'm sure the Knicks will, because they're great at developing.
So, someone pointed out that the Knicks have had, in the last 7 years, they've had more first or second team rookies than any team in the league, and have developed almost no one.
Yeah. Porzingis is the only one left that's even on.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Yeah. It was like 5 out of 7 years or something crazy.
Yeah, like every year they get someone that's on the first or second team of all rookie team. It's unbelievable how bad we are at developing these players. And there's no one that left. I'm not like, oh man, the Knicks lost out by not developing Landry Fields, or I'm not upset that Hernangomez got traded because I don't think he's going to be that good.
Right.
Are you? But wow, yeah. So let's just talk about these two trades. First off, are you upset at all that Hernangomez is off the team?
Not really. I mean, no, I'm not.
I feel like his ceiling on offense is Cantor. Cantor's very good on offense.
Mm-hmm.
His ceiling on defense is
somebody worse than Cantor.
It's like to be invisible, basically.
Yeah.
He's terrible on defense. I don't know. Maybe he'll get a little bit better on defense. After watching, so in other news, Luke Kornett. What do you think of Kornett?
I thought he had an amazing first game here.
Yeah. He played today. He did not do as well. But in his first game, he got, I think it was 10 rebounds, hit 4 block shots, 3 3-pointers, 11 points. And not that he's the second coming or anything. But I think the Knicks saw what he was doing in Westchester and just said, this guy seems like a guy if we're going to give playing time to a center going forward, Luke Kornett might make a lot more sense than Hernangomez.
Unfortunately, he had a 0.1 rebound game today.
Yes, that is true. He only played 13 minutes. I feel like he could have used some more minutes, but whatever. In Westchester, he was shooting 45% from three-point land and shooting 6 threes a game, which is a lot of threes to be shooting and hitting it at such a high percentage.
Yeah.
So I think the Knicks probably said he also had 2 steals today, which is interesting. He got a bunch of block shots. He does not look like the most athletic player. I don't think he's a starting center in any stretch of the imagination. But you know what he looks like to me? He looks like he could be a better version of Steve Novak.
Mm-hmm.
A version of Steve Novak that can play some defense.
I mean, I would take that.
Yeah, I mean, having a guy that can knock down threes, and if he was knocking down, you have to think if he's knocking down 45% of threes in the G League, you could probably hit 40% in the NBA. In theory, the same three-point line.
Yeah.
How different is it? I mean, you'll get more nervous, but eventually, when you settle in confidence-wise, you should be able to hit threes as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same shot. So anyway, I would say, based on the limited information we have about Kornett versus Hernangomez, who would you rather develop?
Yeah, definitely Kornett. I mean, not that I expect Kornett to be a world beater, but I feel like, he's a little more versatile with the outside shot, and already his defense is better. So I feel like there's a better chance with Kornett. Yeah,
in today's NBA, he's probably a more logical player than Hernangomez.
And I have no expectations.
Yeah, if Kornett's terrible and is out of the NBA next season, whatever. We don't give up much. I will be shocked because, like, if you look at the game Hernangomez has, it doesn't, for whatever reason, it does not work as well in the NBA if you can't shoot from the outside and can't play any defense. I mean, look at Jahlil Okafor, who cannot seem to get a role in the NBA when he was unstoppable in college.
Yeah, I mean, Okafor is like, he got traded and he's still not playing.
He was the ultimate back to the basket, can't play defense guy, and the NBA has just said we don't need a guy like you that much.
It's also defense. If you can't play defense, it's really hard to play you.
Right. Or you have to be so good on offense that it makes up. Like, in some ways, Cantor's pretty bad on defense, but like his offense is so good that it makes up his rebounding and offensive skills.
Yeah, you got to be like, borderline all-star level talent on offense though to make up for defense that bad.
Right. Right.
Like even Isaiah Thomas, I think is going to have trouble finding a role, even though he averaged almost 30 points a game last season.
Yeah, that we should talk about that after our call and in a little bit. Let's get to the other trades. But so, if you had to grade the Hernangomez trade, what would you give it?
C minus.
Yeah, it's kind of we tried, we don't like, we move on, whatever.
Somebody was
picks.
floating a rumor that there was a GM from the East that told him he was trying to literally fleece the Knicks right now. And then it comes out that Orlando was asking for Frank Ntilikina for Elfrid Payton.
Yeah.
And then they ended up flipping Elfrid Payton for a second rounder. So I'm pretty sure that that's what that guy was talking about.
I think it has to be it. Because it really was.
This is my theory.
Yeah, what's your theory?
My theory is that the Knicks have such a reputation for being incompetent that they literally don't get any real offers anymore. They get these wild, crazy, throw in Frank Ntilikina for Payton just to see if the Knicks say yes. And then if the Knicks say no, they move on to another team and make whatever deal they were willing to make. But I think the Knicks just don't even get regular offers anymore.
It's kind of like in fantasy basketball, which I never make trades anymore, or any fantasy sport. I don't like it, where you get these trade offers from people who are like, well, maybe he'll just do Ntilikina for LeBron. Maybe he'll see some value in that if I throw in Doug McDermott. Like, and that's the offers the Knicks get in real life, basically. So yeah, I think you're right. I think he thought the Knicks were actually going to bite on that. Like, stood firm. The Knicks were like, okay, we'll just trade for a Mudiay. Mudiay, who cares? Either one's bad. And then he was like, God damn it, and had to take a second round, the next best offer, which was just a second round pick.
Right.
Which is also, Orlando Magic just said, Elfrid Payton, we'd rather not have a point guard than have you on the team.
Yeah.
Because they're left with, who are they left with?
DJ Augustine and Shelvin Mack.
Yeah, so they basically decided they didn't even care about having a point guard. It was just get rid of him, which says a lot. Also, Payton, I guess he's going to be a free agent this summer. And Orlando, I guess, had zero interest in matching it. They were like, whatever we can get, we have zero interest in paying him this summer. And at least Mudiay, they has another year under contract.
Right. I mean, if you could get one of the worst defenders in the whole NBA, you got to lock that in for another year.
Okay, the second trade. What do you think of the Mudiay trade? First, Doug McDermott, do you care at all he's gone?
No, I mean, we were souring on him last episode.
I would say 90% of casual Knicks fans will not know that Doug McDermott's not here anymore. It'll take him the entire season to figure that out. He doesn't do that much. Like, he's fine. Like, I know it's the stats online say Doug McDermott hit 40% of his threes this year. I watched almost all of the Knicks games this year. I don't know when he's hitting these 3-point shots because every time I see him shoot, he misses.
Yeah.
He's awful. And his defense is bad. He's one of those guys who always he'll have a role in the NBA for the next 5 or 6 years, but he'll never be good. He's not the Steve. We kind of wanted him to be Kyle Korver. He's not Kyle Korver. What do you think about this? So what do you grade this trade?
Another C.
I'm going to give it like a B- because I would say you traded nothing and got back a guy that was a top 10 pick, and he's 21. Why not?
I don't know. I just feel like we want to see Frank get more minutes, and we like Burke, so we got another point guard.
Let's play 2 point guards going forward. Why not?
Well, that's what they're doing, but
yeah.
I mean, if you look at today, Burke got no minutes now.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you have too many players that play the same position.
Well, Jack got 8 minutes today, and Jack should not get 8 minutes. Like,
I mean, that's good. At least the coach is seeing, like, hey, what's the point of playing a 34-year-old point guard who's not going to be on the team next year? So at least there's that. But
because against the Raptors, Jack got 23 minutes, and I was like, why in God's name did that happen? But now that Mudiay's here, and the Perry must have just called Hornacek and goes, I get you think your job's about wins. You're not getting any wins, so just play this guy. We want to find out if we have anything here.
Right.
We got a call.
Yes. So let's go to the call. All right, we are joined by Rudy. How you doing, Rudy?
I'm good. I'm good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us. So it's been a busy week. I guess let's start with how did you become a Knicks fan?
I've been following the Knicks for a long time, brother. They've been breaking my heart for years. Ever since high school days, I've been following these guys. So, yeah, I grew up in New York, so I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I'm never getting off the boat. So,
Nice. So what were your initial thoughts when you saw Porzingis go down last week?
yeah, man, I'm watching this Bucks game, and that broke my heart. Um, the kid needs some help. KP, he's needed some help all season. I mean, I hear the stories and I read the papers, and when he went down, it's like we're back to square one again. I hope he can come back better. They're talking about February, so that was just another black eye. Oh my goodness, just years and years of frustration.
Well, on the bright side, it might help us get a good draft pick.
And I'm hoping. I mean, tank needs to begin right now. Then, if that's the case, I mean, play the young guys. I don't know why they're still doing Jared Jack this crap, but whatever.
Well, he had
Never
8 minutes
understand it.
tonight, so maybe it's a start.
Yeah.
It took Coach long enough. So the Knicks also made a couple trades. Are you sad to see Willie or McDermott go?
To be honest with you, not really. I mean, I thought I liked Willie a lot, but I mean, in my opinion, just another defensive liability like Cantor is. So you gotta had to give up one center, and he had to go. They're not gonna give up Noah, so I agreed with it. And Dougie, yeah, I mean, he can't hit that open shot. He can't be there in the clutch for us. I don't know why, but so I don't know what it is. I was liking him when we got him, but
Yeah, it seemed like
second rounder.
I don't know. He's got a good shot, but you're right. It doesn't seem like when it matters, he was hitting those shots.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part. But between him and Lance Thomas, I don't know what we're gonna do. So,
Well,
we-
unfortunately, we got Lance Thomas for another year or two.
yeah. So
What are your thoughts on Mudiay?
on Mudiay, I mean, I watched the game a little bit today, condensed version. I woke up late, but he looked aggressive. I mean, he had a decent night. I mean, he looked like he wanted to be aggressive and get the team involved. He had a nice number of assists there. So I was surprised he played that many minutes. But yeah. I mean, it's a start. We got to start somewhere. So
Is there
maybe that.
anybody on this roster you're looking to see more of? Trey Burke, Luke Kornett, Dodson, any of these young
I
guys?
mean, Dotson got some burn tonight, and I mean, I'm not sure about Dotson. You know what I mean? But the kid Kornett came in the other day. He did some impressive things quick in the short period of time he got. So I like his little up. He looks like something. He looks like something definitely. So a core piece, maybe a role player, but we shall see. I liked what I saw in a brief period of time.
Yeah, it's looking like we're gonna have plenty of minutes to go around now. So, well, Mark and I were debating offline about Noah. So since Noah's still on the team under contract, Mark thinks we should give him a shot, see if he's got anything left. I'm under the impression that we're better off giving minutes to the young guys. Noah's washed up. What's your take on that?
I mean, I'm 50-50 with it. I mean, if you're gonna pay a guy that much money, you got to play him and see what he has. You can't give him the many minutes. There's a flip side to it too, though. I mean, Noah's feet are slow nowadays. He doesn't have it anymore. He is washed. He's washed, So the little bit of time Jeff wanted, he gave him the hook. He can't even do it. He hasn't seen enough. So, I mean, you can't do the stretch provision on him. That's not a good idea. So I don't know. We're stuck. I don't know. We're stuck with this kid. But I want to see the young guys. I want to see what we have.
Yeah. I definitely give Hornacek some credit for taking a stand as far as that goes. What do you think of Hornacek overall? Some people are saying he should be fired. Some people are kind of neutral on him.
My thing with Hornacek, I mean, I don't want to see KP go through as many coaches as he has so far, but Hornacek has to go. I'm sorry. Just in the first half of the season, even when we were playing well on the defensive end, just in those clutch moments in the fourth, he just, for some reason, his rotate, I don't know what he does. He'll pull out the hot guy. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm so confused with his rotations. You know, like
the players must be confused too. Some guys, like O'Quinn, will get 2 minutes one night, 20 minutes the next night. I don't know what I would think if I was playing it for him.
And I don't blame them because they're horrible defensively, you know. But when they do have it clicking, he likes to break their rhythm, and I don't know. Just I don't know why he plays Lance Thomas. Like I would have been trying to give Dotson some shine or something. Just you're sending him down, you're bringing him up. You're sending him down, you're bringing him up. You know, what's the point? Like play him, see what you have.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's tough when there's really no standout best players on the team. So it's kind of like go with the hot hand or go with the matchups.
You can only do so much. You can only do so much. What you have, the personnel, I get it. The rosters, we have a trash roster, bro. That's basically what it comes down to. Because talent is everything. So I mean, I'm sorry to hate on the guys, but just I like Frank. I do like Frank, you know. But man, when I see these guards doing what they're doing between Mitchell and this kid Dennis Smith, just is like, man, those two kids right there, man. If we could have got one of them, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to look like maybe. I mean, I just keep hoping that Frank is young and he just needs some reps.
Right.
We'll see. So there's a lot of players on this roster that are expiring next season. Is there anybody you want to see back? Beasley's expiring. Jack, Kornett, Hicks, Burke, Dodson. Any of these guys you do or do not want to see back?
Well, if we're going to keep Frank, in my opinion, I want to see what him and Mudiay could do. They're two big guards. They're long. You know what I mean? If one of them can get a jump shot, maybe play off ball. And I like Trey Burke as a third guard, maybe. Courtney Lee, I like him a lot. He's under contract. I mean, as far as that, I don't see anybody else, man. Everybody's expendable. You know, just I love O'Quinn's heart. If he was able to give us more on the defensive end, he's an undersized center, so he tries, you know. So
yeah.
I mean,
what about Beasley?
Bees, man, I love his heart, but one day he's so streaky. I mean, he's like Starks in my opinion. Just he'll give you everything one night, and the next night he'll commit 100 fouls or something. You know, like
yeah.
You know, you never know what you're gonna get with Bees, but I would sign him. I mean, he needs a home. He loves it there. I mean, so
guy can score.
You know, yeah. I mean, he's a walking bucket. He has. I love him off the block. The moves he makes off the block, spin into the hole. He's a finesse player. You know what I mean? I like him.
He's a decent rebounder too, actually.
Right.
Hardaway. What's your thoughts on Hardaway?
I'm sorry, bro. He's gonna have to show me something soon. We had him before. We drafted him. You know, and this is the second round with him. I thought it was a lot of money. He shows flashes, you know, but he's been sticking up the joint since he's been back. And in my opinion, he's soft. I'm sorry. Just he gets knocked down. No, I don't know. Just he's always down on himself. You can see his emotions in his face. Like he doesn't have that poker face. I don't know. But
yeah, I'm
I mean,
starting
when
to
hot,
sour on him too.
When hot, he can light it up, man. But I don't know, man. There's either nothing in the middle with Timmy. You know what I mean? So he takes bad shots, bad decision making out there. His IQ is like he's like a second JR or something. You know what I mean? Like he's I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So our 10 minutes are almost up. The Knicks are 23-34. What do you think they end up with by the end of the season? 25 games left.
25 games left. I'm hoping right now the tank should begin, but if the kids want to show heart, give me 29 games, 30 games. I mean, because we just lost 6 in a row. I mean, so we'll see. But 35 games, hopefully, if you're lucky. But if we're gonna get a draft pick somewhere high, which these one and done kids, I don't know. I wanted Kemba and Dwight or something.
Yeah. All right. Do you have a Twitter you want to plug or anything else?
No, man. Just I listen to you guys every day. I mean, every week you guys post. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan lately. I haven't been listening to you guys too long, about 6 months now, and you guys are funny. You know what I mean? And I love what you guys do. I've been wanting to get on a long time.
Awesome. Well, glad you were able to join us. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
All right.
Later.
Take care, man. Bye. Another good call.
Yes. And thanks to the power of technology, I was not able to enjoy the call with you guys.
Thank you, Skype.
Thank you, Skype.
If you want to talk to both of us, have a Skype account, because apparently Skype doesn't let you conference in regular phone numbers because they are great.
It used to, but everything's turning against us these days. So going back to, I'm sure you guys had a nice conversation. Going back to the Knicks and what's going on right now with the trade deadline, Mudiay. So you don't hate this move. I guess you hate this move.
I don't hate it, but I don't really like it.
I feel like maybe it could be a thing in the NBA going forward. There's so many athletic guards, a lot of guys that are like tweeners, that maybe it becomes a thing where teams play 2-point guards at a time. That becomes more of a common thing.
I mean, I do have to say that Mudiay had 10 assists in his Knicks debut, so
yeah,
that's a good sign.
That is a good sign. I think the thing is, so Mudiay and Frank, if they could learn to shoot, they'd both be valuable players. You know, I cannot believe here's what drives me crazy. There are so many people, you read Twitter, you read like comment sections on websites. There are so many people that have already given up on Frank. I think it's insane.
Yeah, the guy's 19. He hasn't even played that many minutes. He's not as impressive as I was hoping, but to give up on him is a little crazy.
He would be at most a sophomore in college. Like, don't give up on guys this early.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, I'd say most guys come in the NBA and do not dominate right away and get better over time.
Mm-hmm.
Very few guys come in and are just like the shit right from day one. LeBron James was awesome right from day one. Shaquille O'Neal was awesome from day one.
Carmelo these are like once-in-a-generation players.
These are not – most guys – are not that good at first. They get better. There's a lot to like about Ntilikina. You cannot say the Knicks. I hate the Knicks. They never develop players. And then like 50 games to drafting a guy, you go like, he's done. He sucks.
Yeah, it's only been 50 games too. Yeah,
it's an insane.
And he was injured for some of that.
It's insane how people are like, oh man, I wish the Knicks would develop young guys. He's not immediately Magic Johnson. He's awful.
Let's agree. Ultra clear.
Nail him to a cross and lay him on fire.
Yeah.
I
don't know. The guy has played 53 games this season.
There's a lot to like about Ntilikina so far. You agree or not disagree?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, he plays defense, which is very lacking on this team.
Let's go back and forth a little bit. He plays defense. He has great court vision.
His 1 assist game tonight notwithstanding.
His passes, he's a very good passer. He does a very good job of setting up other guys for shots when he's being a little more aggressive. His actual shot, even though he's not shooting at a high percentage so far, his shot looks good.
Yeah, I mean, well, tonight he hit both of his threes and he hit all 4 of his free throws. So it's there and it can get better.
Just visually, his form is really good. He looks like he has a nice shot.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to assume he will get better every season. If he was, say, 4 years in like Mudiay, I can see you giving up a little bit faster. I understand why Denver gave up on Mudiay, but giving up on Frank this fast seems ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And Mudiay, does a guy who's 22 years old get better?
I mean, almost always.
Yeah, you would think. Everyone said Mudiay was good on defense. He's not. But everyone is.
He's really, really bad.
Yeah, Frank is at least good on defense. I mean, I don't think I would be shocked if Mudiay ends up being really good. He's not going to be the Knicks starting point guard ever, in my mind. But is he worth trying out and seeing if he can get backup? Why not? What do you think of Burke at this all? Like Burke, we've had some more Burke up to this point. Have you lost faith in Burke? Do you think?
No,
Burke
I kind of want to see more Burke actually.
I'm intrigued. His offense, like he's a pretty good shooter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you could have a nice 1-2 punch with Ntilikina and Burke. Maybe play them together even. Who knows?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Burke seems like he's got potential.
The Knicks.
We now have a backcourt. Now that it seems like Jack is being weaned out of the lineup, we have 3 guys who are young and have potential that could maybe do something.
Yeah, which beats having no guys that have any potential. I mean, look at the past. Look, it's been such a goddamn swamp of horribleness at point guard for so long that why not try with these guys?
Yeah.
Like, what have we had in the last couple of years? What have our point guard situation been? We had Derrick Rose, which Cleveland hated so much they traded to who they traded him to? Utah, who immediately released him upon getting him.
Right. Yeah, he's not on any team, and nobody really picked him up because Bellinelli got bought out, and he got picked up by another team immediately. He's on Philly now.
Derrick Rose had to leave the Knicks, take a break from the Knicks because he was so upset that he may not get a max contract after his contract was up with the Knicks. Not only did he sign for the minimum, he got traded and then cut. And that was our point guard we were really excited about. What else? That
was also the point guard we got a negative feedback on, a negative review on iTunes for not liking the trade.
We had Jerry Grant, who we drafted, who is now on the Bulls. The Bulls can't figure out how to get good minutes out of him, and they're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that great. They've got who else we had? Who else have we tried in the last couple of years?
I mean, how far back do you want to go? We had Duhan. We had.
I'm just saying, last like 5-6 years. Like let's go since the 54 win season. Since the Knicks won 54 games, starting Jason Kidd. Who have we had since?
We had Raymond Felton twice.
I mean, that's awful.
Yeah.
And Felton's probably, if you look at it, he was one of the better ones. It was that bad.
Yeah. We had a really old Mike Bibby.
Which is you really want to get guys when they're past their prime.
Tried playing Shumpert at the point sometimes.
Pablo Prigioni, who did his prime elsewhere in a different country and then became a Knick.
Tony Douglas.
Oh God, that was a while back. Yeah, at some point we were like Iman Shumpert, who is bad at everything on offense, would be our point guard.
Don't forget Jose Calderon.
Holy crap, that was awful.
Shane Larkin.
Jose Calderon, who said, "I'm ready to be a backup going forward in my career," and the Knicks were like, "We traded for you, and you're going to start." I don't want to start. Well, you're our starter. I'm not going to play any defense. You're our starter.
Langston Galloway.
Yeah, Shane Larkin, who are Phil Jackson had to admit his hands weren't big enough to play the position.
Yeah, Langston Galloway.
Was Galloway ever a point guard?
They tried.
Ron Baker was, I guess, a point guard as much as Langston Galloway was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been such a nightmare that I am with these 3. I'm kind of happy.
We have a lot of emails, so want to jump into that? Or did we get into? Yeah, no, we covered.
We haven't. We did those trades. Is there? Let's just 5 more minutes on this, Jay. Is there anyone you're upset? So the Knicks said they fielded offers in Courtney Lee and Kyle O'Quinn, did not get anything sufficient to warrant trading them. It was supposedly the Knicks wanted a first-round pick for Courtney Lee. Are you upset that the Knicks said that's what we need and didn't trade him because they didn't get it?
No, I mean, like if you have to have one veteran out there, Lee should be that guy.
He seems like a guy guys can learn from, and you could always, he's signed for 2 more years, you could always try to trade him this summer and see maybe get more value for him.
Yeah.
Kyle O'Quinn. What
Quinn
value?
Is making $4 million a year. You're not going to get anybody even close to that.
But what value was not sufficient?
I don't know what you were thinking of getting. The guy makes $4 million a year.
Well, here's my thought. So my thought is that he has a player option for next year, and I think he's making $4 million a year. He is not going to opt in to $4 million again for the Knicks. That's my thought.
No, even if he gets shafted, he's probably going to make double that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are theorizing that with the salary cap going down, a lot of teams don't have a lot of salary cap, that Kyle O'Quinn may just say, I'm going to opt in for one more year and see if the following year, when teams have more money, that maybe I'll go for it the year after. And if he does that, I'm fine taking out Kyle O'Quinn for an extra $4 million. For $4 million next, I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
But I really, really think Kyle O'Quinn will not be on the Knicks next year. I am 99.9% positive he's not going to be on the Knicks. But I think once he opts out, the Knicks aren't going to sign him. Because whatever it's going to cost, it's going to be too much money to sign him. And so if he's going to not be on the team, you could have gotten a second-round pick for him.
Would you rather have a second-round pick or O'Quinn, though?
If he's not going to be on the team next year, I'd rather have a second-round pick. All I'm valuing is that the rest of the season's worthless. We just want to lose anyway. Mm-hmm. If Kyle Quinn's not going to be on the team next year, you will take anything that's more than nothing for him.
Yeah.
Because he's going to leave, so what's the point of having him? You don't need him to. You don't need him to. We don't need minutes from Kyle Quinn going forward so we could lose games.
Right. Yeah.
Is there any? Once you just said like, "Hey, Kyle Quinn, we got a second-round pick in the year 2067," and you may think that's ridiculous, but you're not going to be here. So what's the difference?
Why don't teams do that?
Trade picks that are like 40 years out.
Yeah, why not?
Well, little do you know, in the Bargs trade, the Knicks traded all the first round picks from 2090 to 2100.
I mean, like, do that with the Spurs, because you got to think maybe in 40 years they'll finally be bad.
Yeah, you're right. Why does the team just ever just try that? Like, it's like, oh, and they also threw in their first rounder from 2057.
Yeah, it'll be a pleasant surprise. Everyone will forget about it, and then one year, like, oh, cool, we got a draft pick.
I'm pretty sure another GM would just hang up on you. He'd be like, this guy can't be serious. I'm not going to have this conversation.
You'd just be totally serious. Be like, I want the 2045 draft pick.
You know what would also be crazy? The Knicks would make some trade that sounded like decent, but they throw in their 2057 first round pick, and there'd be enough fans being like, they traded another first rounder. You're like, it's from 30 years from now. You might be dead. Like, who cares?
I'd still be mad. I don't want to trade first rounders. I'd be one of those guys.
So my only rationale with Kyle Quinn is that he won't be here. I feel like the production you get out of Kyle Quinn, you could get that from someone else on the roster. You know what his name is?
No.
Joakim Noah.
Oh, God. No, stop.
I don't think the production you get from Kyle Quinn is that different than the production you'll get from Joakim Noah.
I do.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because Noah is so comically washed up at this point.
Have you watched Kyle Quinn play defense? I know he's a solid help defender and can make him blocks, but he's not good on defense. He's often out of position. There's no rim protection most of the time when he's there. He gets a block or two, but beyond that, the paint is just wide open when he's playing. He's not a good defender. So what? Know what? You're paying him $17 million. He could do just as bad a job on defense and just as bad a job. He's a better passer than Kyle Quinn. Kyle Quinn, I love how he hits Doug McDermott. He makes these great passes. He turns the ball over way too much. For every good pass, there's always like a dumb pass from Kyle Quinn. He's been fine. I have no issue if he comes back, but I think we're already spending a gazillion dollars in the center position. Cantor will obviously opt in. That you might as well have Joakim Noah be your backup, and he will not be any worse than Kyle Quinn. I think for a team also that's probably going to have to tank next year too.
The only reason I'm agreeing with you is because Noah's really good for the tank.
I really just don't see. I've watched Joakim Noah outside of being injured. He doesn't look good on. He doesn't look that horrible out there. He's not worth 18. If the Knicks said they signed Joakim Noah for league minimum salary, you would say to play backup. You would say, okay, sure, fine.
Yeah. Well, I'd still say he's washed up, but at least I wouldn't be upset because it's not cap crushing.
Yes, you would have no real issue with it. It's the fact that the money's a sunk cost. Despite what people think, no matter what buyout you negotiate with Joakim Noah, it doesn't come off the cap. The only thing that comes off the cap is if he signs for another team and they're only going to give him league minimum. You get that league minimum money back. That's pretty much it.
Right.
And you stretch him, you're brain dead if you stretch him.
Yeah, no, if they stretch him, we may have to take some time off of this show.
So anyone else you think the Knicks should have traded?
Lance Thomas.
I knew you were going to say. I don't mind Lance Thomas being here. If he doesn't get a ton of minutes, he's apparently a good locker room guy. He plays defense. You might as well, if you're going to keep guys that aren't good, you might as well keep the guys that aren't good but try on defense.
Mm-hmm.
You're building a culture here. Hornacek said we're building a culture. By the way,
Hornacek says a lot of things.
I'm totally fine with hiring Hornacek. My biggest regret with firing Hornacek was my biggest fear. Was that I wanted continuity. I feel like we just keep turning over our coaches, and I felt like KP would get pissed off, and it'd be such a circus that we fired Hornacek that maybe that was a good enough reason to keep KP happy and keep a system for him. But since KP is not going to play well for the next 2 years anyway, let's just find a Hornacek and find a different coach. What's the difference now that KP's injured?
I mean, I'm getting sick of having a new coach every other year too.
But at the same time, do you like Hornacek?
I'm not totally upset. I mean, I'm kind of like neutral on Hornacek.
How will you feel next game when Jack plays 30 minutes?
Well, then I bring out the pitchforks. But Jack played 8 minutes today. I think Hornacek's coming around.
Hornacek said the minutes would go down for Jack. He's admitted this already. So I'd like him to play Dotson more. I don't understand his lack of love for Dotson. I'm assuming Dotson, like, at some point just hit on Hornacek's daughter, and they had that awkward thing. He's like, "That's weird. My coach is the same last name." Okay, we can go to the emails. Go. And we're going to talk about these other trades real quick after emails. But
yeah. Bill writes, I have to say I loved Mark's passion last episode. Furthermore, I agreed with pretty much every point he made. Courtney Lee, 30 minutes, 28. Jack getting more than 1 minute per game. Dude was on the waiver wire before we picked him up. Unbelievable. Totally agree with giving Frank and Dotson heavy minutes. We've been doing this for 15 plus years. Guys, good players do not want to come to us unless we build a strong team to lure guys in. Guys want to go to a team who are winners. Jack and Thomas are not winners, so we have to take chances on talent and develop those guys. Honestly, McDermott is disappointing. Time for a defensive player who can shoot like Dotson. Go, Mark. Don't budge. Go to Dotson, Frank, Trey, KP, Cantor, and Hernangomez. This was written one day before Porzingis went down.
Oh, my God. By the way, today's minutes, tell me if you have any issue with these minutes. Beasley played 29 minutes. What's your thought on that?
Somebody's got to score.
No, they don't. We're supposed to lose games. Like, no, these things don't have to happen. No one has to score. We can lose. We get shut out. Who cares?
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it. Well, you know what? In theory, I had the idea that Beasley could be a really solid six-man. For next year's team, I was hoping next year's team would be good. Now that we're like decades away from being a contender, I don't know if they should pay Beasley to come back or not. But I don't mind. I don't mind them experimenting with Beasley and seeing in more minutes what would happen. You agree?
I like Beasley.
Yeah. Timmy Hardaway played 29 minutes. What do you think?
I am a couple more 20% shooting nights away from saying Hardaway should play 0 minutes. I'm really souring on Hardaway.
I know. It's funny. You know what?
I was really sour on him when they signed him, and you talked me out of it. And I'm just going back to my original position.
Yeah. So maybe it wasn't my father-in-law. Someone said to me recently, they were like yesterday, they were like, "Oh, that guy Timmy Hardaway is playing pretty well for you guys. That contract seems to like actually be working out." And I was like, "Have you been watching the Knicks lately?" "No, not really." I was like, "Well, it had been working out until he's gone 2 for 50 the last couple games."
Right. He had 10 good games. Then he got injured for a while, and now he's terrible.
Well, we need Hardaway to be good going forward. We're paying him a bunch of money. He should play 30 minutes a game going forward, and hopefully he figures his crap out. We need that to work out. Cantor, 27 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah, it's something we're figuring out if he's part of the future. Courtney Lee, 21 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems about right to me also. Kylo Quinn, 21 minutes.
Yeah.
And Luke Kornett got 13 minutes. I might have wanted to see Kornett get some of Kylo Quinn's minutes because there's a chance Kornett's here next year. Mm-hmm. Again, Kylo Quinn's not going to be here. And Isaiah Hicks got 0 minutes. What do you think? Wait. Do you know who Isaiah Hicks is?
No, I had the wrong box score up. I'm like, he played 13 minutes. No, that was his first game. I'm trying to think whose minutes he should take.
I mean, Dotson played 11. Like, you could, I guess basically, you're right. At some point, it comes harder with these minutes. I guess Lance Thomas could play 0 minutes, and I'd be fine with that. You could probably take some minutes away from O'Quinn. You have to balance this out. At some nights, you're going to have to. So
because
some
nobody
nights,
played huge minutes.
Yeah, no, some nights, some guys have to get a game off and like let the young guys play. Like,
I mean, he played 12 guys.
And some nights you have to say, Corey Lee, you don't play tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You got to get more minutes for Dotson. You got to get more minutes for Burke. But yeah, I like the. Okay, go on.
I mean, he did good. He did good today with the minutes.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. I nothing to get that angry about with the minutes. I hate this team. I hate being a Knicks fan. Why are we Knicks fans? Is there any worse team to root for?
We're dumb. Bill, again, quick comment. Lance makes me very uncomfortable being a Knicks fan. Seriously, while I'm writing this, Dodson just hit a 3 and looks good on D. Why didn't we play him all season? That's really the only reason why Horny annoys me.
I have a question for you. Yeah, I agree with what we said. But if this was a Brooklyn Nets podcast, and we're recording, and the Nets do the Paul Pierce Kevin Garnett trade. Do you end the show? Like, you literally jump off and just say, I'm not a Net fan after that trade?
No. I thought the Nets were going to be awesome that year.
Oh. I thought we agreed at the time that it was a horrible, like, they would get marginally better. We thought they would be better. Like, we thought they were, like, they had a team that was going to contend, but hadn't. Basically, I thought we agreed on second-round exit, and your team's going to be horrible going forward because of the draft picks.
I mean, we agreed they gave up too much, but I thought maybe they had a chance to make some noise. I mean, if you remember, Johnson and Gerald Wallace were coming off good years too. So you had a starting 5 that were all like still playing at a really high level.
Yeah, no, you thought they had you just didn't think they had enough to beat Cleveland or Miami, because it was Miami at the time.
Well, the problem is Garnett got injured right after he signed there and was never the same.
Yeah, I mean, they really got. I guess so. That kind of trade, that kind of move, would not get you to leave the team.
I don't. No, I mean, I'd be super bitter for the next 5 years because it didn't work out, and now they're screwed.
If the Knicks, so the Knicks did not trade KP at the deadline. If they had traded not the deadline at the draft, the Knicks had traded KP and then drafted Markelle Fultz. Would you at some point just say, I'm not a Knicks fan anymore?
I don't know if I'd say I'm not a Knicks fan. I would probably say I'm not doing a podcast anymore. Like, why do we spend all this time?
I mean, Fultz, holy cow, what a goddamn disaster that is. He may go down as the worst. I mean, I have to think he's going to have a career. I don't know what the hell. They say he can't shoot outside the paint right now.
Let's, like Frank, let's give him more than 50 games.
It's just amazing. Well, he hasn't played 50 games. Has he played yet in the NBA?
He played 3.
Oh, okay. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. The guy like gets drafted number 1 overall, forgets how to shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions. Go on.
Bill writes, Mark, I finally found something I disagree with you on. Lance Thomas is what's wrong historically with the Knicks. The guy is an overall player on the floor, is a liability. He's a great on-ball defender, but honestly, isn't the best team defender, especially at power forward where Horny plays him. And those running hook shots, he's a cancer to the team's success and potential for success.
Yeah, I don't even know. I have trouble disagreeing with that email. I have to say, I don't think Lance Thomas's defense is as good as we make it out to be. Would you say, if you had to say from 1 to 10, 10 being like Bruce Bowen, and 1 being an average Knicks player? I don't know. Yeah, so 10, you're an all-world beater, all defense. Where do you think Lance Thomas is from 1 to 10?
He's like a 7.
Really?
Maybe.
I think he's a 5. He's an average defender. He's an NBA average defender. Maybe slightly better. He's not that good a defender.
There's literally no reason to play him.
He's okay on defense. He misses plenty of assignments. Plenty of guys beat him. He's fine. If he was Bruce Bowen out there, and if for those that don't remember, Bruce Bowen was on the San Antonio Spurs. He was out there only for defense, and he was a hell of a defender, right?
Yes.
Depicting this accurately, and he's a guy who had no offense, but you could play him because he was that good on defense. Just like Ben Wallace was an amazing defender for the Detroit Pistons. His offense was horrible, but because he was so good on defense, you were like, this guy has to play.
Yeah.
Lance Thomas is not that player. He does not have to play for his defense. It's just a matter of it's so bad out there. I feel like with Lance Thomas, you can play him 10, 12 minutes a night and not like be miserable. His running hook shots are horrible. His only thing, he can shoot the three, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, I think he can, but like, well, I don't know. There's just no point. Noah writes, the Knicks just successfully traded Hernangomez for some hot dog water and a bag of chips. How long until he's an all-star, and we're wondering why the Knicks can't ever get a player like him?
That's not going to happen.
Fortunately, I don't think we have to worry about that.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Hernangomez, his agent's already like, I demand another trade.
Jorge writes, does losing Billy and Cock mean we're going after DeAndre or another big man in the draft? Well, I think this is a pre-deadline, trade deadline question. If you're talking about like in the offseason, the Knicks are still capped out next year.
Yeah. We have no. The only way we have cap space, really, any significant cap space, is if Cantor opts out.
And if they draft another center in the draft, I'm going to snap.
But what do you think about this sense of like, do you just take? I don't know where the Knicks are going to draft, the top 10, hopefully top 5. But what's the best player available to center? What if they're like whoever's available? And I don't think there's a center that's ranked that high. But what if they said like this guy's a world beater at center? When you draft the guy and they say like he's world like defense, he's supposed to be good on offense and amazing at defense. You draft him. There's no position. I'm just gonna take the best player.
Yeah, I mean if he's a world beater, you do it. But there is none ranked that high in the draft.
By the way, looking at the tankathon, we have a really ways to go. Like we have the Knicks are playing 25 more games, right?
I said they have to go 2-23.
Yeah, that's a really... Sacramento is number 1, 17 wins. Then Phoenix at 18 wins. And Atlanta at 18. Dallas at 18. Orlando at 18. Brooklyn at 19. Memphis at 18. Chicago at 19. These teams have all just said, how are all these teams this bad?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you look at their records, there's nobody that's... Like, usually there's a team that barely cracks 20. Like... Every team is going to get like at least 20, maybe 25 wins this season.
Yeah, but the Knicks like to go to only win 2 games is really, really
well, that's what happens when they start off 18-18 or whatever they were. It's
this is why going forward, Kyle O'Quinn must play point guard for us going forward.
the Knicks were 18-18, so that's what they get.
Yeah, I have to say I'm against the lottery going forward. They're getting rid of the lottery, right?
No, they're just changing the percentages.
What isn't it that all 14 teams are even?
No.
What is it? How are they changing it?
I think the top 3 or 4 are almost even, and then everyone has a higher percentage.
I would say all 14 teams should have the exact same percentage shot going forward. It's too much. This tanking stuff is just so annoying. I understand. I want to tank because of the system. But it just ruins basketball.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I wish we had to root for losses. I wish it was just like, if you're just at the 14, then you're just like, it's same percentage, and there's no issue. Like,
right.
It's a terrible system.
It is. Jorge writes, just saw the Willie trade. It appears Scott Perry is as much a mook as Phil Jackson, and he was nice enough to attach the definition of mook. It means moron or dipshit, just a plain dumbass idiot that you don't like.
Do they like in parentheses they say Nick GM? I don't know. I looking at what was traded in the trade deadline, I don't think you could have gotten a lot for Hernangomez.
Yeah, I don't know.
You didn't have to trade him. You could have sat him on the bench and tried to trade him in the offseason, but I feel like, I mean, in fairness, Alfred Payton was starting point guard for Orlando and got a second-round pick. I wish they'd gotten a second-round pick that was like within like this next year, but
yeah, waiting 3 and 4 years is not great. Matt writes, Porzingis knee injury nearly made me retch with raw disappointment and horror. Jesus Christ, man. However, 1, he would have tried to make the Knicks go for a playoff spot. Now they tank and play kids. Hopefully, who knows with Horny. This is good. Seeing the team try to make the playoffs would have been horrific. A true dumpster fire. 2. Kornett may have not been on the team without KP going out. He looks good on limited sample size. He can do many things his team needs, and his skill looks transferable from the G League to the NBA. 3-point shooting, blocks, rebounding, impressive kid. And 3, KP will come back as an upper body monster. He will hammer the weight. Regards, Matt from Perth, Western Australia.
Nice. Do you want KP to hammer the weight room?
No, not really.
I kind of feel like those stuff like leads to more injuries these days. I feel like they should do yoga, not weight room stuff.
I mean, just in moderation. I don't want him to come out looking like the Hulk, but maybe bulk up a little so he doesn't get bullied by some people. But
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't know. Whatever. I mean, you look at the game like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. None of those guys had bulk.
Right. And like I've said it before, Durant and Garnett have been fine skinny. Or hey, right? Should we go after Mario Hezonja this summer? Another lottery pick from 2014. The Knicks should just collect all the busts and see what happens.
I mean, why not? How
Why
bad
not?
could it be? You know, Hernangomez is finally Orlando's finally playing him. By the way,
Yeah, and he's
Have you
looking okay.
he's looking okay. I don't know why they didn't play him sooner. I mean, the team's so goddamn bad. Like I would have been playing him before. But like, let's see his game log. I thought it was interesting. He got 23 points the other night, 8 the night before, but then 10, 20, 15, 14, 17. He's on like okay shooting all those nights. Maybe he could be an NBA player.
Kevin writes, Jay, ask Mark who the Lakers rookie point guard is. Mark, who's the Lakers rookie point guard?
I'm going to say LeVar Ball, aren't I? Lonzo. It's.
You do say LeVar a lot.
I know.
He wanted
Yeah.
me to smack you in the face with your non-existent cryptocurrency if you did that again. You saw that email. That's the only reason you didn't say it, right?
No, I didn't see the email. I didn't read the email.
Oh, okay.
No, but I know I've been getting that wrong. I've been trying to correct myself.
Okay.
I know it's Lonzo Ball, but I cannot. Oh, I always say LeVar because in the media all you hear is about LeVar Ball. You don't even hear about Lonzo Ball anymore.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to Facebook.
Before Facebook, do you want to just go over these trades, or
Sure.
go over? Okay, the only trade that really we want to talk about is the only one that matters is Cleveland.
You mean the 3 trades they made?
Yeah, they turned over their entire goddamn roster. What do you think?
There was like 8 trades. 3 were from Detroit and 3 were from Cleveland. So it's so much to try and process. They traded away 6 players. From a team that was 3rd in the conference, they traded away 6 players.
The team that went to the finals the last 3 years said, we have to get rid of all the Knicks we can from our roster.
I mean,
They got rid of Shumpert, they got rid of Channing Frye, and they got rid of Derrick Rose. They were just like, let's purge ourselves of that Knicks. And they probably tried as hard as they could to get rid of J.R. Smith.
Yeah. I mean, they also got rid of Isaiah Thomas.
Holy, what a fall from grace. Isaiah Thomas going from a guy drafted 60th in the draft, last pick of the draft, plays really well in Sacramento, plays pretty well in Sacramento, gets traded to Phoenix, plays well, ends up on the Celtics. MVP candidate last year, injured, he can't even play, they can't even put him on the court in Cleveland. They say he's so bad.
And he might end up backing up Ball when he comes back.
Well, I think Magic Johnson said he was going to be the backup. And then his Isaiah Thomas' agent immediately came out and said he is not backing up. That's already a comfortable situation they got going there in the Lakers.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's the deal with Isaiah Thomas?
It's the situation we've had with the Knicks. He's so bad on defense, he's almost unplayable.
But he was MVP caliber last year in Boston.
Yeah, but if you went, I went on some Celtics forums, and some people were saying he's so bad on defense. This is like he has to keep up this ridiculous, unsustainable pace to be even worth playing.
I mean, on offense. I mean, but he was
On
so
offense, yeah.
good on offense. I think Boston just said, I mean, they had a smart coach in Stevens, and Stevens just said, like, hey, everyone else, you have to cover Isaiah Thomas's guy also. You have to figure out how to play 4-on-5 on defense. And they did that. Whereas Cleveland was like, Isaiah's responsible for his guy, and that didn't work out.
So then they got rid of Jay Crowder, who I know he wasn't playing good in Cleveland, but I still
He
think
was
that's a
not.
great contract.
Yeah, but Cleveland doesn't need great contracts. They need to go to the finals.
Are they going to the finals now, though?
Absolutely. I was worried about them prior to this trade. I think they're locked in. By the way, they crushed the Celtics tonight.
Did they?
Yeah, 121-99. They got a whole new team. The team plays together for the first time, and they beat the crap out of the Celtics.
Wow.
And the Celtics were definitely up for this game.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about these moves. These moves they made. So the Lakers move. They traded whatever, Isaiah and whoever else, and they got Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance. What do you think about that?
I mean, those are two guys I'd like on the Knicks.
I mean, they're solid. You got guys. Clarkson can give you a lot in offense. I don't know how his defense is. You got Larry Nance, who's supposed to be pretty decent on both ends of the floor. He's not he's a guy that in limited minutes is pretty decent.
Clarkson's not good on defense.
Clarkson's not good on defense. Okay, fine. Nance is supposed to be okay. He's a guy that can he's pretty athletic. You got young and athletic with those moves, right?
Yeah.
Then they traded the Utah. By the way, Utah must have hated Rodney Hood. It's weird they gave up on them so fast.
Yeah.
But you got Rodney Hood from Utah, and you got George Hill from Sacramento. Those are the other two guys you got, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of those? I feel like those moves are great. George Hill was having an abysmal year for Sacramento. I still think he probably has a lot in him. It's just the team Sacramento's so bad. And you got Rodney Hood, who could be a guy that could be a spark plug any night.
I think they upgraded in a lot of positions. I don't think the Warriors are worried at all.
Oh, I'm not saying they're winning the final. I'm just saying they're going to be there.
The thing is, if LeBron leaves, they're so capped out because they took on $20 million a year from George.
If LeBron leaves, they're not going back to the finals again in my lifetime.
Right,
It
but
doesn't.
if you
Who cares? This is your shot. You have one shot, and your only shot. You have two things you have here. You have one shot this year, and your only shot at returning to the finals is not developing a team. It's LeBron looks around and just says, "Hey, I might as well re-up here." That's your shot.
Right.
I think Cleveland screwed up probably by not trading the Brooklyn pick. They probably should have traded the Brooklyn pick to even add even more firepower. I feel like they probably should have said Brooklyn pick plus whatever and get Kemba Walker. That's what they probably should have done.
Yeah, because honestly, I guess Brooklyn is in the mix. I mean, they could end up with the number 1 pick, but they could also end up with the number 10 pick, in which case it's really not that good.
Yeah, and Kemba Walker would have been a better addition than getting George Hill.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still, George Hill versus Jose Calderon and Derrick Rose, or Isaiah Thomas, this is a major upgrade at point guard, right?
Yeah.
And you got, if you need some extra scoring, between Clarkson and between Rodney Hood, there's two excellent. The Celtics cannot score the basket. The Celtics are one of the worst teams. They're bottom 10 in offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you think the Celtics are now going to beat Cleveland in a 7-game series?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I think Toronto actually might be able. Toronto's bench looks unreal. They have such a good bench.
Yeah, you know what I like? The fact that there's 3 or 4 teams that can actually take the East now.
Yeah. Well, I still think it's going to be. By the way, LeBron played 28 minutes tonight also in this blowout of the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, I think they. And in the playoffs, whatever bench or however deep your team is, LeBron's going to play 40 minutes a night.
Yeah, true.
But and they're going to get Kevin Love back.
All right, let's go to Facebook.
Okay. So wait, overall, what letter grade would you give Cleveland on their moves? And I know they're capped out, and you're right. LeBron leaves, they're not going to the finals anytime. They're screwed. Yeah.
I give them a solid B.
Give them an A-. I'd give them an A if they traded the Brooklyn pick and they had gotten even better. But I like all the moves they did. I'm surprised you don't think they're the odds-on favorite. I would.
No.
So who you going to take the Celtics over them?
Yeah, but I don't think. I feel like it's wide open between the Raptors, Celtics, and Cavs. I feel like they're all really even right now.
I feel like the problem is Toronto's really has a really good bench, but in the playoffs, the bench doesn't matter quite as much because the starters play more.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Celtics are going to get Gordon Hayward back, and that's going to be a big thing of how good Hayward is when he gets back, right?
He's not coming back this season.
I thought he was coming back this season. I thought the rumor was he'll be ready for the playoffs.
Really?
That's what I thought.
Oh, wow.
I think Bill Simmons was talking about it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, If he's not, then I don't see. Maybe he won't. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it'll be a really good series. I just feel like the Celtics, Tatum hasn't been quite as good. Their bench isn't that great. Do you think Greg Monroe is the most amazing addition to the Celtics bench?
No, I think that's a nothing move.
Yeah, okay, Facebook. Oscar writes, yes to the song in the background. I suggested that they would play Soul Asylum Misery the whole episode. What do you guys think of Frank Mudiay backcourt? They could complement each other pretty well, I think. Mudiay can't shoot but can drive, pretty much the opposite of Frank.
I mean, we're getting a good look at it now, so I think we'll have a better idea in a week or two, but I really like that they're trying it.
Yeah. I think Mudiay, they said, shoots 49% at the basket, which is god-awful.
Yeah.
But I like the fact they're trying it. Patrick writes, God, I've never looked forward to a show so much in a good way, but for bad reasons. Thank you, Patrick, so much. Rob writes, just change the lyrics for the song, replace Misery with MSG, which Jay had more time he would have done.
Yeah, I like that.
Eric writes, you win the draft lottery. Who are you drafting? Doncic, right?
Yeah.
Julian writes, let's give us some hope, Jay. Jay said a couple of months back that soon as the trade deadline, I'd be done. We'd talk mock draft. The show on the show. Have you had a look into that? P.S. about college basketball, like the way Kentucky has been on a run as an organization for years, and going forward as a young oriented rebuilding franchise. What do you think about John Calipari? Think he'd be much more knowledgeable on prospects and Horty thoughts. So what do you think about John Calipari as our coach?
He's more experienced. I mean, it might work out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe second time around he does better in the NBA.
Yeah.
Do you think it's tough for in college? I feel like the coaches, especially the big name coaches, have so much power with the players. Players are only there for a short time, but like they really have to kind of respect the coach to get playing time.
Mm-hmm.
In the NBA, the coaches get less respect from the players.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but I would be fine trying him out. Why do you think guys have so much? Why do you think college guys have so much trouble jumping to the pros and coaching?
I don't know. It's always befuddled me.
I've only thought about like maybe the ego thing is like the big issue. Anton writes, Jay, who's our draft pick going to be? Are you predicting we're getting Doncic? You predicted a while back. You predicted a long time beforehand that we're getting Porzingis. Who are the Knicks getting?
Doncic.
Okay. Anton writes, how much would Dolan charge for what? Jay, what position does Doncic play?
The 3.
Anton writes, how much will Dolan charge for tickets now that KP is gone? I bet the asshole will still charge us the same price.
Yeah, absolutely. He might even raise it.
I think realgm.com, which is a good place for like updates on what's going on in the NBA. They had the articles were right next to each other in order. It was like KP injured, out for season. Right above that was Knicks highest valued franchise in the NBA. I mean, what's the point of even being good if your team is the most valuable? Like, Can you imagine if the Knicks were actually good?
That's why Dolan doesn't really care.
Yeah.
I think Doncic actually plays the 2.
Dominican Lou writes, I'll laugh my ass off, I think in response to Tristan writing Tears in Heaven for the song. Dal writes, hallelujah. Seriously, it was the only way that we could commit to proper young talent rebuild. I don't mean to be insensitive, but the Unicorns injury may be the only thing in the last 20 years that will save the Knicks from themselves. What do you think?
I mean, it's just sad that the Knicks need to be saved from themselves so often.
I mean, if you look at the 54-win season, every smart thing that Woodson did was because guys were injured, and he was forced to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks were going to try to compete for KP, and maybe this is how we really go through a rebuild, because we're forced to really like suck this year and probably suck next year.
Yep.
So there's a bright side. Are we ever going to have a team that's decent? Like, how many years? What anniversary of the show will be the 40-year anniversary of the show before the team is actually good?
We've been
doing the show for how long? 8 goddamn years, Jay?
I think this is the 9th season we're covering. So, yeah, 8 years and 9 seasons.
Kill me. It's 9 goddamn seasons, and the Knicks were good for 1 season.
Yeah.
1 season. Like, we had a couple, and everyone talks about the goddamn playoffs making our run for the 8th seed. The 2 years that we made the playoffs and we got swept in the first round, those years, no one said, great, we got playoff experience. Those years, it didn't matter at all.
Wait, we didn't build a winning culture?
The only thing that mattered was the 54-win season, and we immediately tore it down right afterwards. And I get guys are old, and maybe you could have built off that, whatever. But, in 8 goddamn years, we've had one halfway decent. In 8 years, or 9 years, including this year, we won over 50 games once. In the same time, the San Antonio Spurs won over 50 games every year. In the last 50 years, the San Antonio Spurs have won 50 games 40 times. It's
when you put it like that,
it is amazing the futility. Is there? I think they said since 2001, the Knicks have the second worst record in the NBA.
Really?
I think so. 2001. I think maybe the Philly has the worst record because they're all their years in the tank. I think the Knicks since they went to the finals the year after. Since then, basically, they've had the worst record, the second worst record in the NBA. And are you even surprised? Every year we win 30 games.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we went 33, 23, 33, 23. Ugh.
It is un-goddamn believable. Every year. Let me find it here. So we go to the finals in 2001 season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we win 30 games the next year, then 37, then 39, we're getting better, 33, 23, 33, we're getting better, 23, 32, 29, 42, 36, 54, 37, 17, 32, 31, and now we have 23 this year, probably on our way to 30 victories at most. The level of futility is it's staggering. You couldn't have on purpose been this bad.
Yeah, it's. All right, let's move on.
Okay, fine. Facebook. Andrew writes, it's now February, so is it time for Jay to make his pick that he wants us to get in the draft?
Doncic.
Does he play? Do you look him up? Do you know what position he plays? Do you know where he's from?
He plays it too. He's from Slovenia.
Okay. Are we not gonna? Yeah, fine. I mean, I have no issue with drafting non-Americans, but it's just funny that we can. Doesn't matter, I guess. It's just funny that we're going all European now. Gilliam writes, so how do you expect the Knicks to feel KP's absence compared to Timmy's earlier in the season? What does it mean if Timmy's loss was felt more? I don't understand this question. Am I missing something? You think that Gilliam's saying that
he's saying that the team doesn't look as bad when Porzingis is out as opposed to when Hardaway was out.
Oh, so you think this team is better without KP? The team's going to look better without KP than they're going to look without Timmy? I'm going to say he's probably going to be wrong about that, and the team's going to look pretty goddamn awful without KP going forward.
Yeah, they just might not win again.
I mean, I guess if Timmy goes back to playing really well, then maybe that's different. Frank writes, do you think in any way we're overrating what we lost in KP?
No, I don't.
It also just takes away the team was pretty. The thing is, the team was pretty bad to begin with. It was a mediocre team, and you lost by far the best player. Frank writes, could it be even the most cynical among us drastically overrate our players? We couldn't do any more than we did at the deadline. That says to me that the other teams don't value our players. Our players are trash, and I'd have to agree. How much are we overvaluing KP?
No, I think we're gonna have different set of questions next week when the team gets blown up by 30 every game.
Yeah, I mean, I understand KP wasn't playing like he was the first 10 games. He wasn't like a real all-star the last 20 or 30 games, but he brings a lot to the table. I mean, building a team around where your best offensive player is Beasley is going to be bad. Dustin writes, so in two debuts with our Knicks, we get 2 double-doubles. He's referring to, of course, to Mudiay had a double-double today, 10 assists and I forget how many points. And how many points did he have today? He had 14 points. And then Kornett had 11 points and I think 10 rebounds the other night. Impressive, but do you think the minute share would be the same with Lee, Mudiay, Frank? Thoughts on the combination minutes, points, Mudiay, Frank, and Burke, shooting Lee, Dotson, Hardaway, small forward, Beasley until he becomes a severe liability, Hardaway, Dotson, power forward, Beasley, Kornett, Hicks, center, Cock, Kornett, and Cantor. I don't see Burke and Mudiay together in our future.
I want to see more. I want to see Burke just to see what he's got.
Yeah, so point guard, Mudiay, Frank, and Burke should be the only guys playing. Jared Jack shouldn't play going forward. I don't understand what the issue with. I understand people say Jack could be a good influence, but I don't understand the issue going to Jack and just saying, hey, do you want to tank with us or do you want to go play for a contender? If the Knicks cut him, someone was going to pick him up, right?
Yeah.
And then shooting guard, I feel like Hardaway has to play. Does Lee need to play as much?
No, but I mean, it looks like his minutes are down too.
Yeah. Small forward. We don't even have small forward on the team, so you could play Dotson at small forward or play Hardaway at small forward. Who even cares? Beasley, you can't play at small forward because he's not a small forward, right? He's a power forward.
Yeah.
So you don't. Beasley's not going to play.
He could do small forward.
Have you seen him play small forward? He's bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
No, you can't. You cannot run after like a fast wing. He's not going to ever do that.
Yeah.
So you don't play him at small forward at all. Hardaway and Dotson, you give them the small forward minutes with Courtney Lee. Sounds good to me. Power forward, Beasley, Kornett. Kornett's not a power forward, so you put Beasley. Kornett plays center, right? He's 7 foot and he's not agile enough to he's not going to bang against any power forward in the league.
Right. So
you put Beasley and Hicks center. Oh my God, this is just fucking awful. I don't know if God damn. Is there another question I'm missing, or is that it?
Nope, that's it. So, yeah, that was a lot to process today. I hope we covered it all. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, nyknickspodcast on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Patreon. Help support the show for as little as $1 a month on Patreon. Or you can buy one of our few remaining Knicks Podcast t-shirts on the NewYorkKnicksPodcast.com.
By the way, is there any correlation between you getting you buying pens and then KP getting injured?
Probably.
Question for you. So KP getting injured, where does that rank as your lowest moments as a Knicks fan?
Top. Probably top.
I mean, it doesn't beat like losing in the finals.
Yeah. Okay, let's say top 3.
It probably since 2001.
Yeah.
What else is up there?
That's it, I think.
It's top 3, but it's 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, well, I mean, the 2 losing finals and then that.
Oh, I said since 2001 because I feel like you can't even put in the same contest losing finals. But
all right, Knicks, everybody.
Here's I'm not suspended, but here's our schedule this week. Philly on tomorrow night and Washington on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's
we losing. By the way, it's $100 still to get like the worst seats to a Knicks game, right?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Knicks are playing Philly. Cheapest tickets $9. I might as well just go to Philly to watch the game.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper just a train ticket to Philly plus the tickets is cheaper than actually going to MSG. Yeah, so they're going to lose both games. Any chance they win either game?
There's a chance, but they won't.
Washington, by the way, John Wall got injured. He's out for a while. They said next man up, and their point guard's better than anything we've had in years.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We'll be back next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye.